Thank you. Yeah, we had major work down here this week. We had fence hugs, and they had this method that they mess everything up. Not really, but what they do is they got to turn things over, and they use these heaters. Looks like they got rid of them finally. It's been up for a while. Go ahead.
Okay, Vern. Good deal. Well, hold on here. Let's go ahead. My turn to tweak and peak. Audio. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4, 5. There we go. Anyhow, well, okay, good deal on getting rid of your unwanted guests. Good. You had something for Thanksgiving. Bye-bye, bed bugs. All right, well, your antenna's working dandy. You're smoking in here. I think I could hear you on the crystal set.
I'll try low power. I guess this is a show of the game that the SP200 will do. Yeah, we had went to that community thing we went to last year. It was great. This year was crowded. More people know about it, but they put on a Thanksgiving meal here in the city of Roland. And I guess they did it years ago. We went to one a long time ago, but that building got condemned or closed up or whatever, so they have a new center they made. So it was really nice. And of all things, there was a ham radio guy from Big Oak Flat that sat across from me. His name was Charlie. I forget his call. Oh, yeah, he changed his call to BUT, W6BUT. He was a licensed,
Okay, well, good deal on the free Thanksgiving meal, and meet up with some of the neighbors from the big community of Big Oak Flat. Well, good deal. I will, I'll stand by and we'll wait for the official net and use 6F.
Good morning, guys. A0DWC. Knowledge and Vern.
Well, there's somebody official. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, I'm, well, for all intents and purposes, I guess I'm checking myself in because Net Control's not here yet, but she will be here shortly. But anyway, I wrote people down just to kind of get ahead of the game. But I got Vern in the #1 spot this morning. I heard Vern, and then I heard Ron acknowledge Vern. So congratulations, Vern, on the poll this morning, and Ron on the outside front row poll.
Yeah, I was just tuning up. I woke up about 6:15, and I thought, well, I could take a nap before the net, and something let me not fall asleep again, so I got up and made some coffee. And this room was kind of a shambles, the ham room, because they had to turn everything over to make sure they got all the bugs, leafing through paperwork and stuff, make sure all the bugs got killed. I've only seen one since. They said you might see one or two. So I hope we don't see any more. It was messed. It was over a year. Playing it with different things. This one seemed to work. They used a 140-degree heater. Big thing. Gave me a tour of what to do, and they have everything with external power channels, of course, because they use a lot of power to do it. Go ahead, Chuck.
Yeah, okay, very good. Well, you know what, Vern, you got I agree with Ron. You've got a very, very nice signal in here this morning. High power or low power. Either way, you cut through all the blither blather. So, again, congratulations on being #1 this morning. So we're proud of you, Vern. We really are. I know sometimes there's a struggle. It's a struggle for all of us, I guess, in a way. But I know it is for me sometimes. But and Carla. But I know you've been fighting it and you've been persevering. So a job well done there. And Ron, you got piercing audio this morning for whatever reason. I mean, you're cutting through big time. So not a problem with either one of you gentlemen. So Anyway, net control has arrived, so I'll send it over to her, and she can make a call out to anybody that wants to check in. So this is K0DWC. I'll be handing it over to net control, W4 Delta Victor, Quebec. Here's Ford. This part.
Okay, K0DWC, this is Whiskey 4, Delta Victor, Quebec. Well, so far, he gave the rundown. It was Vern, K6VXY, and number 1. Congratulations. You're doing better than I am, sir, this morning. Number 2 is Ron, NU6F. Number 3 is Chuck, K0DWC. Let me make a call out and see if there's anybody who'd like to be number 4 as an early check-in. Please come now.
Good morning, W7MS. W6MQI.
Okay, in the number 4 spot, I have Mike. Good morning, Mike, W7MS. In the number 5 spot, I have Dave, W6MQI. Is there anybody else out there who would like to check in and be number 6? Please come now.
WA7 YBS.
Okay, WA7 YBS in the number 6 spot. Is there anybody else out there who'd like to early check in and be number 7? Please come now. Okay, well, I guess I'm going to go ahead and get the net going here. Do my introduction. Good morning. This is the Vintage Military Radio Net. This is Whiskey 4, Delta Victor, Quebec. My name is Carla in Dayton, Nevada, and I will be your net control this morning. We will be operating on 3974 KC. The Vintage Military Radio Net is a roundtable AM net that provides an opportunity for hams to operate their vintage military radio gear on the air. Military gear is encouraged, but certainly not required. Check-ins will be given a number that can be used in the handoff. I will call for check-ins at the end of each roundtable session. If anyone has anything for sale or want, please mention it during your turn in the roundtable session. So, that's that. I'm going to give my equipment rundown. I'm on the ART-13 with the R274 receiver and the D104 mic amplified. So, let me give a rundown real quick. Vern, K6VXY, number 1. Ron, NU6F, number 2. Chuck is K0DWC, number 3. Mike, W7MS, number 4. Dave, W6MQI, number 5. And Henry, WA7YBS, number 6. Let me make a quick call before we do the first go-around. Anybody want to check in and be number 7, please come now. Okay, nothing heard. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Vern so I can inhale this cup of coffee. So K6VXY to take it. This is W4DBQ. Go ahead, Vern.
That's funny, Carla. W4DBQ and the Vintage Amateur Radio Military Net. This K6VXY, inhale a cup of coffee. I think that's what motivated me. You know, I quit coffee after the surgery for about 3.5 months. I don't know how I did that. I just didn't miss it. Now I do want it back. But I wanted to inhale some coffee, and that's what got me up at 6:15. And cleaning up this room last night. It's pretty nice now, but it was a bit messy, and they went after all those nasty bed bugs. But seems like they did the job. It cost a lot more. It's my wife brought home some laundry from our daughter's place there in Stockton, and that started the whole thing. So anyhow, I got a ham recruit here. I'll do equipment rundown. I'm IC 7200. Trusty old MFJ power supply here, cranked along, and SB 200 sitting right next to the Mark 5, which I still haven't got running. I've got to get some information on how to. I got to build a power supply for it. I think that's something I could do if I could find some information or parts or whatever. It'd be neat to have that thing going. You know, this is the true confessions here, though. Handle this Earn Victor Easy Roger Nancy location, Groveland, California, or Pine Mountain Lake. But, true confessions are on the Arc 5. I got the thing, or it sits here between the exciter and the linear. But I'm not sure. I think it's a receiver, but it might be a little low-power transceiver. I don't know much about it. But it's sitting there because that was like the idle rig when I was a novice. You know, Arc 5. You got an Arc 5? Of course, that was many years ago. And anyhow, there's a recruit, the guy that has done a lot of yard work for us and miscellaneous things. Wanted to get into ham radio. He's been helping me with some of these antenna projects, clearing out the area, and I've been doing all the slingshotting myself, but he wants to get into it. So he hit me this week. He said he'd like to get some equipment. And then I realized I'm going to do it. You know, whatever you think it's worth. He says, I know it's about $300 to get into the hobby. And then it dawned on me, I have a TS-140 I used here. I'm not sure I used it. I must have used it with you guys for a little while when we were renting before we got the house 5 years ago now. I was using it because it has AM and FM and upper and lower sideband, and it covers all the way from 80 through 10 meters. And as a novice, he could operate 10, and our group here, the local Tuolumne County Radio Club, has a Monday night net on 10 meters, so he can get into that. And that'd be kind of neat. And I was talking to Ron and Chuck about the lunch we had at Thanksgiving. Was great. I'm giving up my whole first round here. I better save some for the next round. So I sent over to good old Mike there, W7MS, and good morning also to Dave and Henry, this K6EX1.
Yeah, Vern, it goes to Ron. NU6F is number 2, and then Chuck, number 3. So go ahead, Ron. NU6F to take it.
Okay, good deal. Yeah, what's the difference? Mike, Ron, Golden Valley, Lemon Valley, we're brothers from another mother. Well, good deal, Vern. And Carla, good hearing you in here this morning. The ART-13 sounding crisp and punchy with its audio as usual. We can all only hope to attain that level of modulation. But the D104 likes you, Carla. But I think the frying pan likes you more. But okay, stay around for the net. Ron, NU6F, Lemon Valley, running the Screamin' BC375. Luckily, you get on in years and you're hearing above 3 kc drops off, so not that bad. And receiving with the BC348, both proudly displaying their SAMA sticker that Henry always looks for as a sign of authenticity. All right, with that, take it away, Chuck. K0DWC NU6F.
Okay, Ron. All right, well, so far so good. Everybody, fine. Good crowd here this morning. That's really good. But anyway, good morning to all. And Ryan, that BC 375 sounds great, man. It really does. And your audio is, I don't know, to me anyway, it sounds kind of punchy. You know, it sounds good. But it probably won't be too long that Henry and I will be concocting a BC 375, BC 191, another shootout. That'll be in the near future anyway. Not exactly sure when, but we'll let you guys know. But anyway, yeah, Carla's got a BC 375, a beautiful mint one, you know, and all her tubes are sitting in the safe because I ain't got the guts to leave them out because they're so expensive. You know, I've got, you know, I took a chance and I pulled my tubes out of the safe and put them in my BC 191. You know, I guess I'll run that when we have the shootout. I'll run that again. But Carla hasn't had that station set up in a while. Maybe here in the future we'll get that set up for her somewhere, somehow, some way. Anyway, I'm running the same thing Carla's running, ART-13, D104. I switched over to my R45 ARR7 for receiving, and we're both transmitting through a inverted V. So anyway, we will keep it going, and we will send it over to Golden Valley to Mr. Mike Student, W7MS K0 DWC. Go ahead and take it, Mikey.
Well, thank you, Chuck. So formal on the handoff here. Appreciate it. K0 DWC, W7MS, and the great group here for the Sunday morning Nevada Military Net, AM style, with maybe a little semi-professional radio activity, Vern, but certainly amateur radio. So good morning, Carla. Thanks for running NCS, and co-pilot Chuck, and Vern, Ron up the road in Lemon Valley, and Dave and Henry, and I think there was another heterodyne tuner-upper, so probably somebody else out there. But good morning. This morning running via jumper clips and semi-cold solder joints on a man-machine interface until I get things squared away here. But that may be a clue for Ron there. But this morning running the Premier. Well, we were sort of kind of on the net last week with 18 watts, but this morning we're on the RCAF RCA Victor Company Limited ATR 11A 4-channel receiver transmitters. It is auto-tuned, the RCA Victor of Canada method, and that's Strival Alpha 87A for about 350 watts a carrier. And the jumper leads are, due to the fact I still need to manufacture some kind of a remote, but right now it's cold solder joints and hanging jumper leads here. But we do have the low impedance dynamic microphone input enabled, obviously running the D104 amplified microphone. So that's the rundown here. So far, no smoke, and we're close enough on frequency at this point. So I think we're doing okay. So over to Dave. Low weather report, low of 8 degrees for the week, and I think we're somewhere around that at that point this morning. So it's certainly winter time. I can't wait till we start hitting negative numbers for bragging rights. But over to Dave, W6MQI, W7MS.
W7MS, W6MQI. I thought I'll leave a spot there. Somebody's been tuning up a little bit on frequency. I want to check in. Well, all right. Good morning, all. Good conditions today. Everybody's sounding good. And I don't have my local noise interfering with anybody. And life is good. Good morning to Carter. Thanks for being in control today. Vern sounds good. Ron, you're sounding good on the 375. And Chuck, AR-13. Mike, sorry man, I forgot what you were running. and Henry. And good morning to Bill, N6BCT, who is listening on the SAR through Chicago, Illinois. I wonder if he's out of state or playing some sort of internet antics through a VPN somewhere. But I see him on the KPH SDR. Well, we're running the TCS setup today with D104 going through the Drake L7. And the weather here today is not in the negative. You'll never see that here. But 40, looks like 48 degrees. Got some clouds out there. No wind. And so all is good. Today. Up to Henry, WO87YBS, W6MQI.
Okay. W6MQI, WA7YBS. Just looking at the scope, everything looks good. Although it looks like we could probably do that. So, anyway, good copy on everybody. Signals are strong. This Sunday, last Sunday was, man, it was rough. But much better this Sunday. So good morning to all. Vern's doing good in here. And Ron, crisp, nice crisp sounding BC 375. And Chuck, ART13, co-shared with W4DBQ and the ART11A. Yeah, well, you know, you run it into an amp and man, it sounds potent. Very good. From Mike there, and TCS from Dave. Well, I'm running the Collins 32V3, and so, you know, probably 110 watts, maybe 115. Of course, when you're looking at a W4 Drake watt meter, you never know. And one thing's for sure on a Drake W4, if you don't have a perfect match, you know, 1-to-1, the watt meter reading goes off into the ozone somewhere and reads much higher than is even possible. So anyway, the watt meter says 110 watts. That's believable. And the military connection, when I run the 32V3, it's usually the Ray-Cal, and that's what we're running today, or listening on today, is the RA-17L. And but this one was built in 1964, so it's you know, they built the RA-17s, Ray-Cal did, for quite a long time. Very popular receiver around the world. Even made it into a couple of James Bond movies, specifically Dr. No, where there's a whole bank of them, and then at the very beginning of the movie, and then in Goldfinger, as the, I think that was called that an industrial laser or something that he was going to cut Bond into with. And anyway, the controls equipment in the back room, you can see several Ray-Cals in there, RA-17s, and the associated peripheral equipment that you could get at that time. So anyway, that's a rundown on the surgical linear array for the antenna. And temperature during the week, our cold was 7, only for, you know, a few minutes. And most of the time, for about 3 days in a row, was 8, same as Mike. But this morning we warmed up, it was 10. So this morning, it'll probably be about somewhere in the 40s today, sometimes cloudy, so a little bit warmer. Anyway, that's the rundown. Back to Carla, W4DVQ, WA7YBS.
Okay, I'll pause there to see if maybe Bill was going to check in. Let me call out and see if he's there. Bill, if you're there and would like to check in and be number 7 on the tail end of the first round, N6 BCT, are you out there? Okay, I heard nothing. If anybody else hears something, let me know. But WA7YBS, this is Whiskey 4 Delta Victor Quebec. Very good. Well, Ron, my voice got me in trouble at work the other day. I was back in the kitchen and somebody left my water running in the sink back there, and it was overflowing. Well, I freaked out. It was awful. And my voice, I just, rah, 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 you know, and I guess it traveled all the way up to the front where customers and stuff were, and they were all giggling, listening to me. So the boss come flying back there and told me to keep my voice down. So when I go to work, I have to be careful because it just echoes all the way up through the restaurant. So there you go. All right, before we start the second go-around, let me call out just to be sure there's nobody hanging out there. Anybody would like to check in and be number 7, please check in now. Okay, there's Bill, N6 BCT. Bill, go ahead and make a transmission and then send it back up to me, W4 DVQ. Go ahead, Bill. Okay, N6 BCT, this is Whiskey 4 Delta Victor Quebec. Okay, let me make a, very good, Bill. Let me make another quick call out. Anybody want to be number 8, please come now. Okay, nothing heard. So back up to the top, and number 1 is Vern, K6VXY to take it. This is Whiskey 4 Delta Victor Quebec.
Okay, thanks, Carla. And hello again to everybody. It's K6VXY, Groveland, California. And I get to test my skills this week. I'm going to see that my TS-140 still works and on AM. I don't know if I'll have it around that long. Basically, I was talking about a guy that I've known for several years that's done yard work here that wants to get into ham radio. And I was thinking of having him use an old ICOM I have for 2 meters. But then it hit me that the TS-140 would suit his needs better. He can get on 10 meters with it once he gets his tech license. Pretty enthusiastic. He's always marveled at the antenna array I've got here with these things up in the trees. Remember, one time he came by, he says, you know, you ought to put something up in that big one. I says, I have. There's 2 up there now. And then I showed him my new pole that I use with the slingshot. That works out pretty well for me, to say the least. So I'm going to keep it briefly this time and turn it over to Ron. And I missed it last time. I got my jolt, my cup of coffee, but I guess my vision's going. Anyhow, over to Ron, NU6F, and the group, this K6 plane.
Okay, good deal. See if I've got it. Yeah, there we are. All right, well, I'm looking at signals over on the SDR, and I'm the bottom guy in the woodpile. So most of you guys are running 10 dB over. Anyhow, I forgot, I'm not running barefoot on the 375. It's driving the Ameritron amp. That was this week's project. It was, seemed like it was working squirrely on 80 meters, so opened it up, and yeah, the loading caps, the wafers on that switch were sprung. They're real weak springs, and so I didn't have much of a loading cap, so tunes up fine. Oh, for the heck of it, let me switch antennas. We're on the long wire. Let me drop. And now we're back over on the loop. At least into the SDR, I'm like, wow, 5-6 dB better. But anyhow, guys, well, good deal, Mike, on the. You got less clip leads on it today. I'm guessing you can. I didn't check. You can probably send me a picture to see how many clip leads are still left. But hopefully they're not the high voltage ones, so you're not going to end up with a meeting with old Sparky. And ditto the temperature. Yeah, we had the freezing fog here yesterday. I got up early. There's a men's breakfast I go to on Saturday mornings, and yeah, it was the eerie-looking freezing fog over the over Swan Lake. And Dave, good deal on the TCSs, and you called it out on BCT. It was out and about. I forgot to look on the SDR on KPH to see who's listening. There he was. Henry, good deal on the 32 V3. Yeah, I hadn't heard it for a while, and all sounds fine. Only other radio project is not a very fun one. I'm contemplating replacing the MCU, a microprocessor, on one of my little QRP rigs. But I may not. I may just toss it in the junk parts. All right. With that, with no junk parts, because Carla keeps the shop really clean. K0DWC, NU6F.
Okay. Ron, you got us some stitches. Oh, man. Well, so far, so good. I want to say good morning to Bill, E6BCT. We heard most of what you said there, and let's see here. Mike, that ATR-11A sounds really good. You've got a very distinct type of audio in that thing. I kind of remember it last week when you spot checked in there at the tail end. But when you went to check in this time, I didn't readily recognize it. When you said what you were running, then I remembered it. But great job on that. I think it sounds really cool, real military, real carbony. So congratulations on that. I know you said it was clip-leaded, but I'm sure it ain't going to be like that for long. So great job. And Henry, you're pounding in on the V3. That's sounding fantastic. Dave, the TCS is sounding very, very good. No problems at all. And the Brown and Ron pounding in. So good conditions all the way around. But anyway, doing a little bit of work outside, not much, because it's just too cold in the morning. I think this week, I looked at the temperatures for this week and date, and I think the highs are going to pretty much all be in the 50s. till sometime next week, low 50s, upper 40s, lower 50s. I know one thing, the ice gets thicker and thicker every day in the horse farm. Used to be I could break the ice with a shovel and then rake it out, but here the last couple of days I've had to use a sledgehammer to bust it up and rake it out. So, could very well be 7 degrees, easily. But anyway, I will keep it going. And let's see, I will send it over to Mike, W7MS, excuse me, in the group, K0DWC. Sounded good, Mike.
Well, thanks, Chuck. K0DWC and the Nevada Military Net, 3974 kilocycles or kilohertz, plus or minus. But good reception from all, and also good morning to Bill. We always know he's missed, and there's some concern if he's no-show, but not glad he's here this morning. And we'll find on the audio comments, Chuck, last week was a carbon microphone. This is a amplified D104, but I'm probably over-modulating. I'm really, it's awkward to look at the scope here. It's 180 degrees behind my head, and I'm out of jumper leads here. So I think that might be some of the issues. But great on all on weather reports, and I think we're getting into a high pressure regime here for northern Nevada, west coast. So and of course I'm forecasting if nothing changes here in January, there'll be suddenly the latest reoccurring news item about drought conditions and snowpack, et cetera, but other than that, I'm not too concerned. I think we're doing just fine. And great on projects. Comment on Thanksgiving. Took my daughter out to the Atlantis buffet. And as I commented to somebody else in a telephone conversation, I don't really think the meal was worth $160 in the 2-hour wait in line. But the time spent with my daughter was well worth the expenditure. So, but it was crazy time at the Atlantis. But it'll probably be years before we try that one again. But it had also been years since we'd had that 2-hour wait in line at the Thanksgiving buffet. So that was a lot of fun. And elaboration on the ATR-11A. It is a World War II vintage receiver transmitter. I think the early ones seem to be 1944 build dates. This one's 1945 with a 600 series serial number. So I don't think they made a ton of these guys. And for me, the issue was zero documentation. Anything you could pull up on the interweb was people complaining about lack of documentation and will I ever get it running. So that was, the challenge was thrown. The gauntlet was dropped. I was slapped in the face and challenged to a duel. So we just did a reverse engineering on the 3 Amphenol cannon connectors and pretty much traced everything out. A little still confused on how they run the intercom, et cetera, but I'm not on a bombing mission over Germany, so I'm not too concerned about whether the crew can hear me on the aircraft. But that's the setup. And also, I do have a permanent power supply. I sent a shot over to Ron, the old HP23C modified, but this one I totally gutted out. And one observation, I've never seen a Heathkit HP23 series power supply that didn't have me shocked, literally and figuratively, when I take the bottom cover off and see the construction quality. People who lay bleeder resistors right on top of their electrolytic capacitors, it's called poor engineering and poor circuit layout, but not to mention all the melted vinyl wires. So we gutted it out, added since we didn't need the 12-volt filament anymore, we added that as a boost on the primary winding to get the high voltage up a little higher. and just decided this one will never return to service powering a sideband transmitter. So that's the rundown here, and so far no smoke, and the jumper leads are holding, so it's all good. So over to Dave, and again, I'm on the ATR 11A 4-channel auto-tune receiver transmitter, RCA Victor Company Limited, build year 1945. So now that everybody's asleep, W6MQI, W7MS.
7MS, W6M. Got to turn the high voltage on. All right, W7MS, W6MQI. All right, Mike, ATR 11A. All right, got to look that one up. Sounds fine. Sounds fine here. The conditions are hanging in there at least. Yeah, I didn't catch what Bill was doing. Not sure why he going to a Chicago server. Unless he cooperate remotely or he's got some VPN thing going. I couldn't understand what he was talking about. But anyway, good morning to Bill. Let's see. Yeah, I've been, a few months ago, I guess, I was been messing around with these little, junk, eBay, HF amplifiers. Never had really good luck with them. They burn parts up on them. It's super sensitive. So I just finally gave up and set up to the side. And this weekend I decided, this can't be this hard. So, PC board and made my own amplifier, and voila, it worked. A couple of RF 530s, and get the thing out of it. About a watt and a half a drive. I want to push it much farther. My 12-volt supply is at its edge there anyway. But it seems to be stable. It's not getting real hot or anything. And I ran CW through it for a while, and as hot as it got was 140 degrees. I think I'm going to make another one and make some combiners and splitters. Put a couple of them together and see what I get out of it, and then it all looks good. Make some filters and such for maybe 80 and 40. And so I got some other QRP transmitters here I want to match it up with. But I'll have to run it off my Astron supply, my little 12-volt supply here. You're going to hack that, 2 of them. But anyway, having fun with that. And another project here. I'm 3D printing a PRC 174 case lookalike that I'm going to build a radio into, and then I'm thinking about taking that STL file that I designed. Well, actually, yeah, I guess it'll be an STL file that I'll export out of Fusion 360 CAD program. I think I want to send it off to one of these, like PCBWay or one of these companies, and see how much it would cost to have it CNC fabricated, maybe some sheet metal work, maybe plastic that I can't print here that's a lot more durable, like maybe ABS or ASA or something. So anyway, I got a lot of little projects going on. For just real quick. Came in Wednesday night about 10 o'clock and left here about 8 o'clock or so on Friday, so she wasn't here very long. Went back to Indiana. And I don't know if any of you guys watch college football, but Indiana is really kicking butt this year. They beat Purdue yesterday 66-0. Man, they wiped the floor with them. But Indiana's really good this year. They got a chance of going to the championship. So that's all we got going here. And Chuck, you mentioned some sort of a radio shootout. Maybe a TCS. Have we had a TCS shootout yet? I don't know if we have or not. I think we've got some of those radios. But anyway, that's all here. So who is it here?
Okay, Dave. W6MQI. WA7YBS. Yeah, we haven't had a shootout, roundup, or any of that stuff for TCS, but we're open to giving it a shot. A lot of TCSs out there. My favorite was the Behemoth military radio trials. That was the one where you tried to run the heaviest piece of equipment that you had to put out the least amount of RF power. And we had some really good ones there that where the ratio was like 0.05 watts per pound, things like that. So that one was a fun one. Behemoth military radio trials. So anyway, we'll see what develops. But with the BC 375, we've had a couple BC 375 and 191s. We've had a couple of those shootouts. I'm pretty sure we've had two of them. And of course, the ART-13 one is always popular. We've had three or four of those. But we've only had one Behemoth military trials. And we got to get looking for some heavy gear. Try that. Well, the temperature out in the shop has been running between 30 and 32 degrees. So needless to say, when I go out to the shop, I don't stay out there very long. I had to use the drill press out there the other day, and man, I drilled 4 holes and countersunk them about as fast as I could. It was brutal out there. So I know I do have a Resonart heater. The only thing is, it takes about an hour for it to get the temperature in there up to into the 50s. So anyway, you just have some holes to drill. Let's go do it. The project the last few days is revisiting the Technical Material Corporation GPR 90. And I don't want to say what a piece of junk, but those guys, I tell you, when it came to mechanical assemblies, I don't think they really, I don't know. I've never seen so many screws and lock washers and nuts and Loctite and red Cliptol on screws. It's just amazing. I mean, even the little studs that are generally riveted so that you can then screw a nut on to hold a shield on. Even the little studs are mounted with screws and nuts and washers, lock washers. So, needless to say, mechanically, if you're going to disassemble GPR 90, which is what I did, be prepared. It's a whole lot of screws. And so anyway, let's see what else. Well, what ended up happening on the GPR 90 was the one that I had is an RXD, so it has the crystals on the top, 10 crystal selectable external, well, moderately external oscillator because they drifted so bad, just like the SP600 and all those other ones that had selectable crystal oscillators as part of the circuit. Anyway, the RXD was had a front panel that had a lot of holes drilled in it, and somebody had rounded the corners of the bottom with a file. And so I'd been looking for a replacement front panel. And our friends there in Sparks were parting out a GPR 90 RXD about 3 years ago. Anyway, I got the front panel from Ethan, and that's what I've been doing, is swapping front panels to having at least a front panel that isn't loaded with non-original holes and filed bottom corners. And so it's looking pretty good. But wow, what a disassembly project. It's I've never seen that kind of avoidance of using rivets or PEM nuts. So anyway, that's what I'm complaining about the GPR 90. Beautiful receiver, but wow. Stand by. Okay, I'm just in time to turn it over to Bill. N6 BCT to take it, WA7 YBS.
Back to net control.
Okay, N6 BCT, this is Whiskey 4 Delta Victor, Quebec. Yeah, thank you. The sidebander was really on top of him, and I couldn't hear anything he said. So let me make a quick call and see if there's anybody would like to join us and be number 8 and get in on the tail end of the second go-around. Please come now. Okay, fellas, nothing heard, so it's going to be a 73 round, and I'm going to go ahead and send it to Vern, K6 VXY. This is Whiskey 4, Delta Victor, Quebec.
Thanks, Carla. You caught me off guard here. I had a box for an MS. Going to put the tuner itself, antenna tuner, back in the box. I'm still reorganizing. I appreciate the fact that these people that did the heating and under the rug spraying, it was so thorough, but it also left me a lot of work here. What I wanted to say about that guy that wants to be into radio ham, and he finally brought it up last week. He said he's been wanting to do this for a long time. So I'm going to help him get started, because our local club on the third Saturday of the month has the testing, so that gives him enough time possibly next month to study for it. And I gave him about a dozen QSTs. And he seemed overwhelmed. I says, well, take a look at this. It's got articles in it. They're old ones. You know, I don't know why I save those things. I saved 10 years worth and finally got rid of it. I don't look at them the way I used to. But anyhow, the carpet's kind of pumping around the baseboard, because what they do on the spring for the bugs and all that is they have a unit that will go underneath the carpet to make sure if any of them are hiding under there, it'll shoot them with disinfectant or not infectant, whatever. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't on this sort of stuff, but I'm looking forward to hooking up that 140 this week and do some real research. I remember it had a few things go out in it when I had it, and I replaced that. They were easy things, some wiring. One of them was an LED that went out. Or was it a 12-volt bulb? I forget. Anyhow, it was a pilot light, so you could read the instrument panel. Analog instrument panel, by the way, with liquid crystal display. Wow. Okay, with that, I think I forgot to comment on the temperature. So I can just say deal with Vegas. Like 48 degrees. Whatever you got going in Livermore, it's the same here. And partly cloudy skies, that's also true. But boy, Henry, I can't imagine 7 degrees. When I was back in the service in the Midwest, I first California, we're north of Chicago and Great Lakes. It got down to near zero, what you're experiencing, and that was just unbelievable. And you mentioned about going out there and doing some work in your shop as quickly as possible. I believe it. We used to wear our stocking hats, they're called stock hats, yeah. We put those all the way down to our chin and just look through the rarities and the knitting so we could see, and then I guess they call it. But I really liked it. I'm hoping, I don't know where we'll be next summer, but if we're here, I certainly would love to go back there to that get together. That was a lot of fun. Nice to see all you guys too, and girls. And thanks Carla, and then XYL of Henry pointed out where I could find an R5. I just zoomed over there and got one. And I'm going to work on that as a project too. Maybe better qualified for being a military in here. Let's see. So I'm turning it over to Ron and U6F. No squirrel reports this week. They've been kind of quiet. This is 73 all. I guess this is 73 rounds. So 73 Dave and Ron. And also Chuck and Carla. And Bill. This K6 VX flight. 73 all. I enjoy this. It's a nice group.
Okay. Glad you got up bright and early this morning there, Vern. And, okay, on those squirrels. Okay, let me do this again. This is the long wire. And this is the, and then this is the mag loop. Now I'm looking over at KPH. They're both running about the same. Yeah, I'm going to go to the mag loop for a while. All right, good copy. And Vern, glad to hear the battle is over. You know, all that noise from all the generator and equipment probably kept the squirrels away. Now, if you can just go ahead and put some background noise to scare away the squirrels, maybe you don't need anything else. Just use earmuffs. And good deal on a budding amateur radio enthusiast. I'm not sure nowadays what attracts younger folks to the hobby, because, you know, we've been replaced by cell phones, technology, and on the internet and the rest. So I'm not sure what it is that attracts folks nowadays, but glad to see there's still some that are interested. And, okay, hold on, let me switch. Just in case no one was hearing me on the mag loop, I'm back over on the long wire. And Mike, yeah, I saw the pictures. Yeah, you've got it down to a manageable few clip leads. And I wonder how hard is it to find that that 1 ampanol connector, or maybe you've got one, but you know, that would be the challenge. And yeah, that's not much fun having to reverse engineer all the miscellaneous leads. And like you say, you don't need the intercom. We've got text messaging between you and I, so even if I am the rear gunner, why, at least you don't need the intercom. And Dave, good deal on the other projects with the amplifier. Yeah, you know, I always see those things too, and you say, well, gee, that's almost cheap enough. The transistors and the toroids are worth that. But yeah, I always wonder how many people just forget the low pass filter and say, watts is watts, don't worry about it. You let the antenna filter it out, like the good old days, back in the early days of wireless. That was your filter, your tuned antenna. And Henry, okay, on the TMC GPR 90, I didn't know what it was. I had to Google it. And first look, oh, it looks kind of like a SP600 vintage radio. But yeah, I know what you mean about the cold shop. I haven't been doing anything. Same thing. I just get out there, and when it's 12, 13 degrees, I'm sorry, it's not worth firing up the heater, kerosene heater, to get the garage warm enough for projects out there. They'll wait. But it's been great outside. Sun has been out, and no wind, so I've been out on my hikes, daily hikes. But I look now, and the freezing fog is back. The trees are all frosted over, the fence all frosted over. First of all, I thought, gee, it must have snowed, and I looked close. No, it's the fog condensing and freezing on the trees. So, yes, it is frosty. All right, guys. Carla, I guess you can QSY over to the cast iron skillet. And Chuck, keep the shack clean. That's all I can say. K0DWZ, NU6F, listening on the last go-around.
Okay, Ron, NU6F, yeah, I try to keep it clean in here, but, you know how that goes. Oh, me. Well, anyway. All right. When you switched antenna, at least for my ears, over in my QTH, it was just a tick better on the loop than it was on the wire. But the wire wasn't bad either, if you know what I mean. Carla thought the wire was better. So, but either way, you got a winner there, my friend. So, it's pretty neat to have you do those tests on air like that. You and Mike, because I know Mike, like you said, he switched mics from the carbon to the D104. To me, I don't know, the D104, it sounded to me kind of carbony, but either I got bad ears or something, but anyway, it's all good. Dave, I'm in total agreement with you. I think we probably should include the TCS in there and, kind of make it seamless, people running like 375s, 191s, and TCSs. I kind of put them in the same category as an intermediate type of military transmitter, for the wattage and stuff that they run without any help. And, it'd be neat. I mean, we could call it the JAN military trials, the Joint Army-Navy military trials, and run, people that want to run TCSs or 191s or 375s or something in that particular group of transmitters, could feel like they're actually, you know, hey, you know, I've got one of those. I'm gonna get on the air with that, you know. But yeah, the TCS, I don't remember ever having a TCS shootout either. But I think at the time, Henry and I don't think we're really sure how many folks had them, and if they did, how many of them were actually working at the time. So, because you know, there's a lot of guys that got them and they're not up and running. But and actually, I think, at least for me anyway, I'm still not sure who all has them exactly in our group. Some may not. But anyway, but we could do that and include all that and call it the Jan military trial. Yeah, that would, you know, that would kind of cover the bases on that. So yeah, I think that's a good idea. But Henry, Henry, I'm going to give you a call later this afternoon anyway, and I'll discuss that with you and see what we can come up with. But anyway, I'll say my 7-3s, guys, and thanks a million. Henry will be net control next weekend, and then I'll be net control on the 15th, and then it's back to Carlo on the 22nd. So, anyway, we'll say 7-3 again, and I will send it over to Mike. Mike, great job with that ATR 11A. That was a treat to hear that, even with the microphone switch. W7MS, excuse me, in the group, K0DWC. 7-3s, gentlemen.
Well, thank you, Chuck. K0DWC and the group W7MS. We'll find on the audio. You know, I've got the D104 cranked up too high. I have a mod level set potentiometer inside the transmitter receiver, so I need to find the right fit. And also, low impedance microphones, dynamics seem to drive it just fine, so that might be the ultimate answer here, but this is all still in the preliminaries. And fine on the Jan trials, military trials, as long as it's not the Nuremberg military trials. I don't think anybody here has anything to worry about in that area, but that sounds like a possible theme, and you and Henry and Carly can iron that one out. And let me see here. Yeah, I'm not going to defend the GPR 90, but my gosh, hopefully it didn't add to the progression of tunnel carpal syndrome on doing all that hardware, Henry. And gosh, I wish you'd just stop bad-mouthing all these radios I'm trying to sell. So it's okay, but it's an honest critique. And I think my impression of the GPR 90 is it's okay. You know, it's beauty is skin deep, blah blah blah. But I think it was a back burner project for TMC when you look at their bigger commercial military designated devices like the linear amplifier I have. It's a whole different animal. Also maybe a price point they were trying to achieve there with the competition. But nevertheless, man, a front panel change out. I am severely impressed with that. And great Dave on the RFAM project, successful. I think it's been mentioned, or I think maybe Steve's mentioned that in the past also on this frequency in the maybe email conversations. But good on that. And fine on cold soak. And what my basic critique is in the back garage workshop, I have the patience, barely have the limited patience to find what I need or do what I need to do, but I don't ever put anything back. And then over the progression over winter months, there's just a whole pile of stuff and disarray. It's kind of embarrassing, but then it gives me something to do when it warms back up during the summer. It's kind of it's natural flow of the seasons is the accumulation and disorientation of junk, piles of stuff, and then the summertime cleanup, so it can all be repeated again during the winter months. But that's one thing I don't have patience for is I'm not going to put that stuff back. I'll leave it where I dropped it. I'll get around to it someday, like maybe next spring. But that's it. So I wouldn't certainly give it for a. It would certainly wouldn't be part of my shack tour. It's off limits. It's truly embarrassing. But 7-3s from Reno. Thanks again. Always fun. and don't let the bed bugs bite. W6MQI, W7MS.
All right, Mike. Well, I have the same problem here with not putting stuff away, especially when I'm working on a project on the bench. My God, just like meters and pencils and paper and just everything all piled in. I wonder why stuff blows up on me. Just constantly having to clean my nuts up as I work. Then it piles back up again. Can't seem to keep a clean bench. But Ron, the loop was far better in Liver Gulch here, so at least this time anyway, for today's conditions. And they've been actually pretty good. Chuck, you on that last one though, you were starting to fade off. But Mike, you're hanging in there. Everybody else is hanging in there. But Chuck, you were fading off in the distance. But I had to resort to the SDR to hear you. What else? Yeah, TCS shootout, or would be cool, or even a green radio. I know some of us have green radios. That would be something different. Kind of mix it up here a little bit. So I think that's all I got. I'm sure there was some other things I was going to mention about some other people, but I can't remember what it was. But well, one thing, yeah, you guys are cold out there. You seem to be consistently colder than even South Dakota. I monitor a lot of places' temperatures through the years. A lot of places around the country where I go, and lots of places maybe you live to. And you guys are consistently colder in a lot of spots. It's like hard to believe. But anyway. So nice to see everybody, and see you guys next week. Hopefully the condition gods will hang in there. So over to Henry, WA7YBS, W6MQI.
Okay, Dave. W6MQI, WA7YBS. Yeah, one thing's for sure. You know, if you look at the recorded temperatures for like Reno or Carson City, that's just in town. You know, you get out, you know, outside of town into the rural areas, and it's, you know, it could be 10 degrees colder at night, easily. So, they, once in a while, will mention that, but not usually. Anyway, it does require a different wardrobe for the winter than it does for the summer, and it's a dramatic change. Ron, now I hate to be different, but the long wire, when you switched just this last time between the loop and the long wire was probably 10 dB, at least stronger here. So go figure. It's just a little, you know, the nodes off of your antenna. I just happen to have one that favors me, and so I don't know. That is just the physics of antenna propagation, I guess. Anyway, we'll say 73. Oh yeah, thanks for the comments on the GPR 90. Yeah, it's always a kind of fun to you know, 10, 20 years ago, when I was writing on these reviews and write-ups and stuff like that on the website, oh, everything was great. You know, man, the receivers were fantastic. These are the best. And I've sort of been going back and through this stuff and changing it to try to be a little more honest. And I have a section now in each of the write-ups that is no receiver is perfect, and I list all the things that I think anyway are, you know, points that you should take into consideration if you're going to buy one. So anyway, that's what the GPR 90 is going through. It's okay, and it's a beautiful receiver. For a shelf queen, it's great. So anyway, we'll say 73. Everybody have a good one, and I'll be net control next week. So we'll turn it over to Bill. And we'll see how it's going with Bill. N6BCT WA7 YBS.
It's on the speaker of the computer, which is something I hadn't had in Spanish for family. Anyway, Spanish was good, but it was silent when I was talking. Otherwise, I was practice that, but it took them that to 4 o'clock this afternoon. I'm going to put enough. And that's the story here. That's the story that we're going to do. Let's just grab it.
Okay, N6BCT. This is Whiskey 4, Delta Victor, Quebec. Very good. But, at Henry's, it's probably colder than my house because Henry's right there by the river. So we have sometimes a different temperature than Henry has, even though he's not that far away. But anyhow, guys, with these projects and not wanting to go out to the sheds and stuff to do your projects, just bring it in the house. Bring it in, put it on the kitchen table and work on it. You got your food, your bathroom, your heat, your wood stove, all that right there. That's the way you do it during the winter. Bring her in the kitchen. But anyhow, guys, I appreciate everybody showing up today. So I'm going to close the net. This is Whiskey 4, Delta Victor, Quebec, securing the vintage and military radio net. I would like to thank everyone for their participation and invite everyone back next Sunday morning. We're now turning the frequency over to regular amateur radio use. This is Whiskey 4, Delta Victor, Quebec, signing off. It says 73, guys. Have a good day.
I want to mention to my wife what you said about bring your stuff in. I do a lot of my work on the kitchen island. My wife doesn't like that. Thank you.
Well, good luck, Vern, with that one, W7MS. Everybody have a great day.